I'm sitting in a coffee shop right now, 3 hours away from the city where I grew up, sipping a latte that costs $8 and tastes like freedom. My parents don't know where I live. My brother doesn't have my new number. And for the first time in a decade, my bank account is growing instead of hemorrhaging money into the black hole that is my family's expectations. But let me rewind, because the story of how one Sunday lunch turned into a full-scale family exodus is worth telling. My name's Ryan. I'm 34, work as a senior software engineer, and up until 6 months ago, I was the family ATM with a pulse and a guilt complex. My older brother Derek is 37. Derek has never met a job he couldn't quit, a crisis he couldn't manufacture, or a relative he couldn't mooch off of. Preferably me. Growing up, Derek was the golden child. Charismatic, charming, always had big ideas. I was the quiet one. The responsible one. The one who did his homework while Derek threw parties. The one who got a job at 16 while Derek needed to focus on his creative development. Creative development, by the way, is what my parents called it when Derek spent his junior year of high school writing a screenplay that never got past page 12. I'm not bitter. Okay, maybe I'm a little bitter. But I had my reasons. See, when you grow up as the responsible sibling, you get real familiar with phrases like, Derek needs help right now, can you pitch in? You're doing so well, surely you can spare a little? Family helps family. That last one. That's the nuclear option. The guilt bomb that detonates all rational thought. Let me give you a highlight reel of the past decade. Age 24. Derek drops out of college senior year. Has $30,000 in student loans. Can't get approved a loan. Parents ask me to co-sign, just until he gets on his feet. I'm working retail and taking night classes at a coding boot camp. But sure, what's another $300 a month? Derek never makes a single payment. I'm still paying that loan. It'll be paid off in 2027. I'll be 40. Age 26, Derek needs a car for his new job opportunity. Needs $5,000 for a down payment. I just landed my first real tech job. Had $7,000 saved. Parents call it a loan. Derek calls it temporary. I call it money I'll never see again. Spoiler, I never saw it again. The new job opportunity lasted 3 months. Age 28, Derek's getting married. To Amber, a woman who describes herself as a wellness influencer with 300 followers and a candle addiction. The wedding costs $35,000. My parents contribute $10,000. Derek and Amber have $2,000. They need $8,000 more for the dream venue. Guess who got the call? It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, Ryan. You're the best man. Don't you want your brother to be happy? We'll pay you back after the honeymoon. The honeymoon was in Cancun, all-inclusive. They posted 147 Instagram photos. I got paid back exactly $0. Age 29 to 32, Derek has business ideas. 3 of them. A food truck failed after 4 months. A dropshipping company failed after 2 months. A consulting firm failed after 1 month when he realized consulting requires actual expertise. Each venture required startup capital. Each time my parents would call, and each time the script was the same, he's trying so hard, he just needs a little boost. My little boosts totaled $15,000 across 3 businesses. Want to know what I got in return? A t-shirt from the food truck that shrank in the wash and a discount code for a dropshipping site that no longer exists. Added up, $30,000 in co-signed loans still being paid. $5,000 car down payment. $8,000 wedding contribution. $15,000 in business investments. Plus another $2,000 in random emergencies over the years. Car repairs, medical bills. That time Derek's dog ate a sock and needed surgery. Total, roughly $60,000, $60,000. Meanwhile, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with a radiator that sounded like a dying whale. I drove a 2007 Honda Civic with a broken AC and a passenger door that only opened from the outside. I meal prepped chicken and rice every Sunday because I couldn't afford to eat out. But I was doing it. Slowly. Painfully. I was building something. Last year, I finally bought a house. Nothing fancy. A 3-bedroom ranch in a decent neighborhood. But it was mine. I closed on it, stood in the empty living room, and cried like I'd won the lottery. My parents came to the housewarming, spent the whole time talking about how Derek and Amber were looking for something bigger and how tough the market is. Derek didn't come. He was busy. I found out later he was at a brewery doing a trivia night. So, fast forward to 3 months ago. Sunday lunch at my parents' house. A tradition I'd started to dread but couldn't escape without triggering a guilt spiral that would last weeks. I showed up at noon. My mom was in the kitchen, making Derek's favorite, pot roast with those little potatoes he likes. My dad was outside grilling steaks. The biggest one, as always, was marked for Derek. I should have known something was up. The table was set too nicely. My mom was wearing her serious conversation cardigan. My dad kept glancing at me like I was a bomb he wasn't sure how to defuse. Derek and Amber were already there, sitting on the couch, looking stressed. Amber was scrolling her phone with the intensity of someone Googling how to fake your own death. Derek was staring at the wall like it had personally offended him. "Hey," I said, setting down the store-bought cookies I'd brought. Nobody bakes like Mom, but I'd stopped trying to compete. "Hey, bro," Derek said without looking at me. Amber glanced up, gave me a tight smile, then went back to her phone. Cool. This was going great. We sat down for lunch. The pot roast was perfect. The steaks were medium rare. The little potatoes were seasoned just right. And then, between the salad and the main course, my mom dropped it. "So," she said, setting down her fork with the kind of deliberate casualness that means nothing casual is about to happen. "We need to talk about something." I looked up. Derek was staring at his plate. Amber had stopped scrolling. "Derek lost his job," Mom said. I blinked. "Again?" "Ryan," Dad said sharply. "Don't start." "I'm not starting. I'm clarifying. This is the third time this year, right?" Derek's jaw tightened. "The boss was an asshole. He didn't appreciate my ideas." "Your ideas to what?" I asked. "You were a sales associate at a mattress store. I had suggestions for improving customer experience." "And he fired you for that?" "He said I was insubordinate." I took a sip of my coffee. "Sounds like he was right." "Ryan," Mom's voice went shrill, "your brother is going through a hard time." "I get that. I'm just asking what happened." "What happened," Dad said, voice firm, "is that Derek needs help, temporarily." I set down my mug. "Okay, like resume help, job hunting tips. I know some recruiters." "Financial help," Mom interrupted. There it was. I looked at Derek. He was still staring at his plate like it held the answers to the universe. "How much?" I asked. Dad cleared his throat. "His mortgage is $2,400 a month. Car payments are another $800. Then there's utilities, groceries, insurance." I did the math in my head. "You're talking about $4,000 a month, minimum." "Just until he gets back on his feet," Mom said quickly. "A few months, tops." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "A few months?" "What's funny?" Amber snapped. "Nothing, just déjà vu. This exact conversation has happened. What, 10 times in the last decade?" "That's not fair," Derek said. "You're right. It's not fair. To me." Dad leaned forward. "You're doing well, Ryan. You can afford it." "Can I?" "You just bought a house. With money I saved by not eating out for 3 years." "Don't be dramatic," Mom said. "I'm not being dramatic. I'm being accurate." "So you'll help?" Dad asked. I looked around the table. At my parents, staring at me expectantly. At Derek, finally meeting my eyes with something that looked like hope mixed with entitlement. At Amber, who'd gone back to her phone because apparently this conversation didn't concern her. I picked up my coffee mug, took a long, slow sip, set it down gently, and said, "No." The word hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Mom blinked. "What?" I said no. "Ryan, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. Derek lost another job. You want me to pay his bills. And I'm saying no." Derek's face flushed. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely." "But," Mom looked at Dad, panicked. "But he has children." "So did I said calmly. When you asked me to pay for his wedding instead of helping me with my student loans. Oh, wait. I don't have children. I just sacrificed having any kind of life so I could fund Derek's. That's not fair, Derek shouted. You're right, I agreed. It's not. Dad stood up, face red. Ryan, your brother needs help. Family helps family. I stood up too, looked him right in the eye. Great, I said. Then he can move into your house because I'm selling mine. Silence. Complete, total, deafening silence. You're what? Mom whispered. Selling my house and moving, far away, and you're not invited. You know that moment in a movie where someone drops a bombshell and everything goes into slow motion? The water glasses trembling, the background noise fading. Everyone's face frozen in various stages of shock and horror. Yeah, that's what my parents' dining room felt like. Mom's mouth was open. Just open. Like her brain had blue-screened and forgotten to send the close mouth signal. Dad had gone from red to purple. I was genuinely concerned about his blood pressure. Derek looked like I'd just told him Santa wasn't real, and also his dog died. Amber, shockingly, was the first to speak. You can't be serious. I'm extremely serious, I said, still standing, hands surprisingly steady. I'm listing the house next week. Already talked to a realtor. That was a lie, but it felt true enough that it might as well have been. Ryan, sit down, Dad said in his I'm the father and you'll listen voice. The one that stopped working on me around age 25. I'm good standing, thanks. You're being ridiculous, Mom's voice cracked. You can't just sell your house. Actually, I can. It's my house. My name on the deed, my equity, my decision. Where will you go? She asked, like I was announcing a move to Mars. Somewhere you won't find me. Derek finally found his voice. Bro, come on. Family helps family. I turned to him slowly. You keep saying that. Family helps family. Like it's some kind of magic spell that makes everything okay. It's true. Then why have I been the only one helping for 10 years? That's not... When did you help me, Derek? Name one time. He sputtered. We're family. I don't need to... Exactly. You don't need to. Because you're the one who needs help. And I'm the one who gives it. That's the dynamic. That's always been the dynamic. You're twisting things, Amber said, finally putting down her phone. Derek's going through a rough time. Derek's always going through a rough time. Funny how that works out. Dad slammed his hand on the table. The water glasses jumped. Enough. You will help your brother. Or what? I asked calmly. He faltered. Or you're not the man I raised. Good. Because the man you raised was a doormat with a credit card. Mom gasped like I'd sworn in church. Ryan, how can you say that? Pretty easily, actually. Want me to list examples? This is unnecessary. You're right. It is unnecessary. All of this. The guilt. The manipulation. The assumption that my money is community property. I pulled out my phone. Actually, you know what? Let me show you something. I opened my notes app. Scrolled to the document I'd been keeping for 3 years. The one I'd never planned to show anyone but had written down anyway, just to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. This, I said, turning my phone so they could see, is a list of every dollar I've loaned or contributed to this family in the last 10 years. Derek's face went pale. You kept a list? I kept receipts, I started reading. December 2014, co-signed Derek's student loans. Current balance still owed $28,000. I've paid $31,000 over 10 years. Derek has paid $0. I was going to, Derek started. March 2016, car down payment, $5,000. Promised repayment, 6 months. Actual repayment, 0. The job fell through. August 2018, wedding contribution, $8,000. Was told it was a loan. Turns out loan means gift you resent giving. Amber's face flushed. We invited you to the wedding. I was the best man. You didn't have a choice. I kept reading. 2019 through 2022, 3 business ventures, $15,000 total. Return on investment, 1 shrunken t-shirt and crippling disappointment. Those were legitimate businesses, Derek shouted. Legitimate businesses pay back investors. You weren't an investor, you were family. Apparently those are mutually exclusive. I scrolled down. Various emergencies, car repairs, medical bills. That time your dog ate a sock. Another $2,000. Mom stood up. We never asked you to keep track. You never had to. I did it automatically. Every time you called with another crisis, I logged it. Not because I'm petty. Sure seems petty, Amber muttered. But because I needed to see it in writing, to prove to myself I wasn't imagining it. I turned the phone around, showed them the total at the bottom of the list. $60,000. That's what this family has cost me. And that's not counting the interest on Derek's loans that I'm still paying, or the opportunities I missed because I was too broke to take them. The silence was heavier this time. Suffocating. Dad's voice was quiet. We didn't know it was that much. You didn't ask. We just thought, you thought I had extra. You thought I was doing fine. You thought wrong. I pocketed my phone. I wasn't doing fine. I was drowning. But I kept swimming because every time I tried to catch my breath, someone threw another anchor. That's not fair, Mom whispered. No, it's accurate. There's a difference. Derek stood up, chair scraping loud against the floor. You know what? Fine, don't help me. See if I care. Derek, Mom reached for him. He shook her off. No, he's made it clear what he thinks of me, of us. I don't think anything about you, I said. That's the problem. I stopped thinking and started just paying. Like an ATM. Insert guilt. Receive cash. We're family, Derek's voice cracked. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything to me, for 34 years. But you know what I realized? I was the only one treating it like it meant something. That's bullshit. When's my birthday, Derek? He froze. What? My birthday. What day is it? He looked at Mom. At Dad. At Amber. Back at me. It's in the spring? April 15th. Tax day. Easy to remember. I've reminded you every year for a decade. His face went red. So I forgot your birthday. Big deal. It's not about the birthday. It's about the pattern. You know when your birthday is. June 23rd? You know because I've never missed it. I've sent gifts. Showed up to parties. Made an effort. I've been busy. For 10 years? Amber stood up too, defensive. Derek has a lot on his plate. So do I. I work 50-hour weeks. I have bills, responsibilities, a life. But somehow I still manage to remember my brother's birthday while funding his entire existence. Mom was crying now. The soft, manipulative kind of crying that's designed to make you feel like a monster. Ryan, please, can we talk about this calmly? I am calm. You're tearing this family apart. No, I'm pointing out that it was already torn. I was just too busy stitching it back together to notice. Dad stepped closer. His intimidation stance. Worked when I was 12. Didn't work anymore. If you walk out that door, he said slowly, don't expect to be welcomed back. I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework and also spent 30 years telling me Derek needed me more than I needed myself. Okay, I said. Okay? He looked confused. Okay, I won't expect to be welcomed back, because I'm not coming back. Mom sobbed louder. You don't mean that. I really, really do. I walked to the front door. Behind me, chaos erupted. Ryan, stop. You're going to regret this. You're being selfish. I turned at the door. One last look at the dining room. At the pot roast getting cold. At the family that had spent decades treating me like a resource instead of a person. You know what? I said. I've spent 10 years regretting things I did for you. Might be nice to regret something I did for myself. And I left. Walked to my car. Got in. Sat there for a second, hands on the wheel, waiting for the guilt to crash over me like it always did. It didn't come. Instead, I felt light. Like I'd been carrying a backpack full of rocks, and had finally realized I could just set it down. My phone started buzzing immediately. Mom, please come back inside. Let's talk. Dad, this is unacceptable behavior. Derek, you're really going to abandon me? Amber, the kids are going to be devastated. That last one almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered. Derek and Amber had 2 kids, 7 and 5. I'd bought Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, back-to-school supplies. I'd babysat when they wanted date nights. And you know how many times those kids had been brought to visit me at my new house? 0. I put my phone on, Do Not Disturb. Started the car, drove home. When I got there, I sat on my couch, the one I'd bought on sale, the one that was slightly too firm but was mine, and opened my laptop. Googled, how to sell a house fast. Then, best cities for remote tech workers. Then, how to block family members on all platforms. By midnight, I had a plan. By Monday morning, I had a realtor. By Tuesday, I'd requested remote work approval from my boss. By Wednesday, the for sale sign was in my yard. And by Thursday, my phone was blowing up with messages I wasn't reading. Because for the first time in my adult life, I was choosing me. And it felt incredible. The for sale sign went up on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. By 9:47 a.m., my mother was standing on my front porch, looking like she'd driven there without checking a mirror first. Hair uncombed, cardigan buttoned wrong, eyes red and puffy. I know because I watched her through the window for a full minute before deciding whether to open the door. Spoiler, I didn't. She knocked, then knocked again, then started calling through the door. Ryan, I know you're in there. Your car's in the driveway. I stayed on my couch, laptop open, researching apartments in Austin. Remote friendly. Good tech scene. Far enough away that just dropping by would require a plane ticket. Ryan, please, we need to talk. The neighbors were definitely watching. Mrs. Chen from next door had her curtains pulled back, not even pretending to hide. Great. This would be wonderful for property value. My phone buzzed. Mom was texting while standing on my porch. Impressive multitasking. Mom, I can see your shadow moving. I'm not leaving until we talk. I typed back, then I hope you brought snacks. She read it. I heard her make an exasperated noise through the door. More knocking. This is ridiculous. I'm your mother. I turned up my headphones and went back to researching neighborhoods. She lasted 45 more minutes before giving up. I watched her trudge back to her car, shoulders slumped in defeat. She sat in the driver's seat for another 10 minutes, probably crying, possibly calling reinforcements, before finally driving away. I felt bad for approximately 30 seconds. Then I remembered the Sunday lunch ambush and went back to my apartment search. Friday afternoon, my realtor called. So, good news and weird news, Janet said. She was mid-50s, no nonsense, had seen everything. Good news, we have 3 showings scheduled for tomorrow. Market's hot right now. And the weird news? Your dad called the office, said he needs to talk to you about family business before the house sells. Wants me to pass along his number. I laughed. He has my number. That's what I figured. Should I tell him anything? Tell him the house is selling and there's nothing to discuss. You got it. Oh, and Ryan, whatever family drama this is, not my business. But for what it's worth, you've got good energy. People can tell when someone's making a healthy choice. Thanks, Janet. Now let's sell this house and get you that fresh start. The showings went well. Really well. By Sunday evening, I had 2 offers, both above asking price. The housing market was insane, and apparently my modest 3-bedroom ranch was exactly what young families were looking for. I accepted the higher offer. Closing in 30 days. Fast, clean, exactly what I needed. I texted my cousin Marcus, the only family member I still talk to, mostly because he'd moved to Denver 3 years ago and had his own escape story. House sold, closing in 30 days. Holy cow, you actually did it. Yep. Where are you moving? Austin. Remote work approved. Need help moving? You're in Denver. I can fly in for a weekend. Wouldn't miss this. You just want to see the family meltdown in person. Obviously, But also, you're my favorite cousin and I support your choices. I'm your only cousin who doesn't ask you for money. Exactly. When do you tell them? Good question. When did I tell them? Answer, I didn't. I just let them find out. It took 3 days. 3 blissful, quiet days where I packed boxes, purged old stuff, and planned my new life. Then Derek showed up. He didn't knock. He still had the garage code from when he'd borrowed my lawnmower 2 years ago and never returned it. Add that to the list. 1 lawnmower, $400. I heard the garage door open, heard footsteps, looked up from the box I was packing to see Derek standing in my living room, looking around at the half-empty space like he'd walked into a crime scene. "What the hell, man?" he said. "You can't just walk into someone's house, Derek." "The garage code still works. I'm changing it today." I went back to packing books. "What do you want?" "What do I want? You're actually selling the house." "Yep." "Where are you going?" "Somewhere else." "Ryan, come on, don't be like this." I looked up at him. Really looked. He'd aged badly in the last few years. Stress, probably. Or karma? Hard to tell. "Be like what?" I asked. "Clear about my boundaries? Done funding your life? An adult with agency?" "You're being petty." "I'm being free. There's a difference." He ran his hand through his hair, a nervous habit from childhood. "Look, I get it. I messed up. I should have paid you back. I should have been more responsible. But this? Running away? That's not going to solve anything." "It's not running away. It's running towards something better." "What's better than family?" "Literally anything that doesn't make me want to throw my phone in a lake." Derek sat down on my couch without being invited. "Mom's a wreck. She's barely eating. Dad's, I don't even know. He won't talk about it." "That sounds like a them problem." "And me? What about me?" I stopped packing, turned to face him fully. "What about you, Derek?" "I need help. Amber and I, we're drowning. The mortgage, the cars, the kids' school. Get a job. I'm trying. Try harder." His face flushed. "You don't understand. It's not that simple." "You're right. I don't understand. Because I've never quit a job 3 times in 1 year. I've never spent money I didn't have on things I didn't need. I've never asked my younger brother to fund my lifestyle while I figured out my passion. That's not fair." "None of this is fair. That's the point." I threw a book into the box harder than necessary. "You want to know what's not fair? Working 60-hour weeks while my brother day drinks and calls it networking. Eating ramen for months so I can cover his car payment. Missing out on vacations, relationships, experiences because I'm too broke from keeping you afloat. I didn't ask you to do that. Yes, you did. Every time you called with another crisis, every time mom guilt-tripped me, every time dad said family helps family like it was the gospel." Derek stood up. "So that's it? You're just done with us?" "I'm done being used. If you want a relationship, we can have one. But it's going to look different." "Different how?" "No more loans, no more bailouts, no more treating my bank account like a community resource." "That's cold. That's boundaries." He stared at me for a long moment. I could see the wheels turning, the calculations, trying to figure out if he could guilt me, manipulate me, or anger me into changing my mind. None of it was going to work. For the first time in my life, I'd built a wall he couldn't climb. "Fine," he said finally. "Go. Move to wherever. See if I care." "Derek, no. You've made yourself clear. You think I'm a screw-up. You think I'm using you. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am." He walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. "But at least I tried. At least I took risks. At least I lived my life instead of hiding behind spreadsheets and safety nets." That one almost landed. Almost. "You're right," I said calmly. "You took risks. With my money. And now you're mad because I'm taking it back." He left without another word. The garage door closed behind him. I stood there for a minute, breathing hard, waiting for the guilt. Still didn't come. I went back to packing. 2 weeks before closing, Amber showed up. With the kids. I saw them through the window. 7-year-old Tyler and 5-year-old Madison, both in matching "I love my uncle" t-shirts that I guarantee they didn't own yesterday. This was psychological warfare. I opened the door. Amber. Ryan, hi. Her smile was plastic. The kids really wanted to see you. We haven't visited the new house yet. The house I'd owned for a year. But sure. New. Uncle Ryan, Tyler ran forward. I caught him in a hug because I'm not a monster. Madison hung back, shy. She'd always been the quiet one. Hey, buddy, I said to Tyler. What's up? Mommy said you're moving. I am. Why? I looked at Amber. She had the decency to look slightly ashamed. Sometimes people need a change, I said carefully. But we won't see you anymore. Sure you will. I'll have a new place. You can visit. Amber jumped in. Actually, that's going to be hard. We can't really afford trips right now with Derek's job situation. There it was. The play. Mommy said maybe you could help us more if you didn't have a big house payment, Tyler said, clearly coached. I knelt down to his level. Tyler, buddy, can you and Madison go look at the backyard for a minute? I think there might be a soccer ball back there. Okay, they ran off. I stood up, looked at Amber. Using your kids as emotional hostages is disgusting. Her facade cracked. I'm desperate. Do you understand that? We might lose the house. Then downsize. We can't. The kids' school, public school exists. Derek can't find work because he's depressed. Then he needs therapy, not my money. You have so much. You just don't want to share. I have so much because I saved it instead of spending it on luxury cars and vacations. She was crying now. Real tears, not the manipulative kind. I don't know what to do. The bank is threatening foreclosure. I have 2 kids. We're going to end up in an apartment. Apartments aren't the end of the world, Amber. I lived in one for 8 years. But the kids will be fine. Kids are resilient. What they need is parents who model responsibility, not parents who teach them that Uncle Ryan will always bail them out. You're really going to let us lose everything? You're really going to let Derek take no accountability? She didn't have an answer for that. The kids came back. No soccer ball. I don't own one, never have. But they'd found some old gardening gloves and were wearing them like puppets. Look, Uncle Ryan, Madison said, finally speaking. Very cool, I said, smiling despite everything. Amber gathered them up. We should go. Say bye to Uncle Ryan. Bye, they chorused. I waved, watched them leave, felt bad for the kids. They didn't ask for any of this. But I'd learned something important. You can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, even if they're family, even if they're kids. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is let people face the consequences of their choices, even if it hurts. Closing day arrived on a Thursday. I signed papers, shook hands with Janet, and officially handed over the keys to a young couple with a baby on the way. We love the house, the wife said. It has good energy. It does now, I said. That afternoon, Marcus flew in. We loaded the moving truck. Well, he loaded while I directed and handed him beers. Your family know you're leaving tomorrow? He asked, hauling a box labeled Kitchen Fragile. Nope. Cold. Efficient. He grinned. I like this version of you. Very, no regrets given. I've been carrying everyone else's problems for too long. I'm traveling light now. Smart move. Minimalist Ryan. Exactly. We finished loading by sunset. Sat on the porch with beers, looking at the empty house through the window. You really doing this? Marcus asked. Already done. No regrets? I thought about it. About the decade of guilt. The drained bank account. The relationships I'd never pursued because I was too busy being the family safety net. None, I said. Not a single one. My phone buzzed. I glanced at it. Mom, please call me. We can work this out. I blocked the number. Marcus raised his beer. To new beginnings. I clinked my bottle against his. To finally saying no. Tomorrow, I'd drive to Austin. Start fresh. Build a life where my worth wasn't measured by my willingness to be used. But tonight, I sat on the porch of a house I no longer owned, with the only family member who'd never asked me for money and felt something I hadn't felt in years. 3 months into my Austin life, I got a LinkedIn message from Derek. Not a text, not a call. LinkedIn. Like we were business associates reconnecting after a conference. Hey man, hope Austin's treating you well. We should catch up sometime. I stared at it for a full minute, then archived it without responding. 2 weeks later, my mom created a new Facebook account, Patricia Morrison 2, because apparently I'd blocked the first one, and sent a friend request with a message. Ryan, sweetie, this has gone on long enough. It's almost Thanksgiving. Come home. We'll talk everything through. I'm making your favorite pot roast. The pot roast. Always the pot roast. Like carbs and nostalgia could erase a decade of dysfunction. I declined the request. But here's what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known. I was thriving. Like, genuinely, surprisingly, almost annoyingly thriving. My apartment in Austin was a one-bedroom in a building with a gym I actually used. I'd made friends, real ones, who didn't know my family history and therefore had no reason to ask me for money. I'd started rock climbing, dating someone I met at a coffee shop. Her name was Sierra. She worked in graphic design, and when I told her about my family, she said, "Good for you for getting out." Not, "But they're family." Not, "Maybe you should give them another chance." Just, "Good for you." I'd gotten promoted at work, senior developer to lead engineer, $165K salary, the kind of money that used to feel impossible. And for the first time in my adult life, it was mine. All mine. No one calling about emergencies, no one guilt-tripping me about mortgages, no one showing up unannounced needing just a small loan. I bought a nice coffee maker, took a weekend trip to New Orleans, got a gym membership at a place that had a sauna. Small luxuries that felt massive. But the family kept trying. Thanksgiving week, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Ryan?" My dad's voice, calling from someone else's phone. "Clever. How did you get this number?" "I have my ways." He didn't. He'd probably called my HR department claiming it was an emergency. "We need to talk." "No, we don't." "Your mother is devastated. She cries every night." "That sounds hard for her." "Don't be cold." "I'm not being cold. I'm being honest. Mom cries when she doesn't get her way. Always has." Silence. Then, Derek and Amber lost the house. I'd heard. Marcus had told me. Apparently, they'd moved in with my parents. It was going exactly as badly as anyone with functioning brain cells could have predicted. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, meaning it about 40%. "They're living with us now. It's crowded." "Sounds challenging." "Ryan, you could help. You're doing well." "And there it is," I laughed. 3 months of silence, and the first time you call, it's to ask for money. "I'm not asking for money." "Then what are you asking for?" he fumbled. "I'm asking you to be part of this family again." "I am part of the family. I'm just the part that lives in Austin and doesn't fund anyone's poor decisions." "Derek's trying. He's got job interviews." "Good. I hope he gets one, sincerely." "But until then, he has a roof over his head, at your house, which is exactly where he should be. You're his parents. I'm his brother. Those are different jobs with different responsibilities." "When did you become so selfish?" The question hit different than I expected. Not because it hurt, but because it was so absurd. "Dad, I paid Derek's bills for a decade. I missed vacations, delayed buying a house, put off having a life. And the first year I prioritized myself, I'm selfish?" I laughed again. "That's not selfish, that's recovery. You don't understand what it's like to have adult children who won't launch?" "You're right. I don't. Because I launched. At 22. With student loans and a dream. No safety net. No parents paying my mortgage. We never paid Derek's mortgage." "No. You just got me to do it." He was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know what you want me to say." "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to let me live my life." "You're still our son." "Then treat me like one. Not like a bank." I hung up. Blocked that number too. Christmas came and went. I spent it with Sierra's family in San Antonio. Her parents were warm, funny, and asked me about my job without following up with, So could you help with? It was weird. Good weird. New Year's Eve, I got an email. From Amber. The subject line, please read this. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Ryan, I know you don't want to hear from us. I get it. We messed up. Derek messed up. Your parents messed up. I messed up. But I'm writing because I want you to know what's happening. Not to guilt you. Just to close the loop, I guess. Derek got a job. It's entry level. It's nothing glamorous. He's stocking shelves at a warehouse, but it's a job. He hates it. Goes home exhausted and angry. But he's doing it. We moved out of your parents' house last month. Got a 2-bedroom apartment. The kids share a room. It's small, but it's ours. Tyler asks about you sometimes. I tell him you're busy. I don't know what else to say. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm not asking for money. I just wanted you to know that we're figuring it out. Without you. It sucks. But we're doing it. I hope Austin is everything you wanted. Amber. I read it twice. Felt something. Not guilt, not satisfaction, just acknowledgement. They were figuring it out. Good. I didn't respond. 6 months in Austin, I ran into someone from my old neighborhood at a tech meetup. Guy named Paul, worked in cybersecurity, lived 3 streets over from my old house. Ryan, man, I thought that was you. He shook my hand. How's Austin? Great, really great. Good for you, man. Heard you sold your place and bounced. Smart move. We chatted for a bit. Then, casually, hey, you know your brother's living with your parents again, right? I blinked. Again? I thought they moved out. They did. For like 2 months. Then got evicted. Something about unpaid rent. They're back at your parents' place now. Pretty dramatic. Your mom was posting about it on Facebook. Of course she was. Wow, I said. That's unfortunate. Yeah, my wife feels bad for your parents. But honestly, he lowered his voice. Between you and me, your brother seems like kind of a mooch. I almost laughed. You have no idea. 8 months in, Sierra and I moved in together. A 2-bedroom in a nicer part of town. We adopted a cat named Biscuit who had 3 legs and an attitude problem. Life was good. Really, genuinely good. And then, one Saturday morning, my doorbell rang. I answered it in my pajamas, coffee in hand, expecting a delivery. It was Derek. He looked rough, thinner, older, tired in a way that went bone deep. How did you find me? I asked. Marcus gave me your address. Mental note, yell at Marcus later. What do you want, Derek? Can I come in? No? He nodded, like he'd expected that. Fair? We stood there in awkward silence. Sierra appeared behind me, curious. Who's this? She asked. My brother. Oh. Her tone said everything. Derek shifted uncomfortably. I'm not here to ask for money. Good, because the answer would be no. I know. He looked down at his shoes, worn-out sneakers I recognized from 3 years ago. I'm here to apologize. I waited. You were right, he continued. About all of it. I was using you. I was taking advantage. I told myself it was okay because we're family, but that was just an excuse. Okay. I lost everything because I never learned to stand on my own. Because mom and dad always bailed me out, and when they couldn't anymore, you did. And I never appreciated it. I just expected it. Okay. I'm not asking for a relationship or forgiveness. I just wanted to say it. Out loud. To your face. I'm sorry. Sierra squeezed my shoulder and disappeared back into the apartment. Smart woman. I looked at Derek. Really looked at him. Saw the dark circles under his eyes. The weight loss. The defeat. Are you working? I asked. Yeah, 2 jobs now. Warehouse and delivering pizzas on weekends. The kids? In public school. They're adjusting. Amber got a job too. Medical billing. We're making it work. Barely. But we're doing it ourselves. Good. I don't blame you for leaving. I'd have left too. I nodded. Took a sip of my coffee. Thanks for saying that. Can I ask you something? Sure. Are you happy? I thought about it. About my job, my apartment, Sierra, Biscuit. The life I'd built from scratch with money that was actually mine. Yeah, I said. I really am. He smiled. Sad, but genuine. Good. That's good. He turned to leave, then stopped. If you ever want to talk, I'd like that. No pressure, no expectations. Just if you want. Maybe someday, I said. Not a promise, just a possibility. He nodded and walked away. I closed the door, leaned against it. Sierra came back with Biscuit in her arms. You okay? Yeah, I think I am. That was big of him, to apologize. It was. Are you going to forgive him? Eventually, maybe. But forgiveness doesn't mean going back. It just means letting go. She kissed my forehead. I'm proud of you. A year into Austin, I unblocked my parents on social media. Didn't reach out. Just unblocked. Saw their posts, updates about their lives. Derek and Amber still living with them. The kids getting bigger. Mom's cryptic posts about family challenges. I didn't comment, didn't react, just observed from a distance. They didn't try to contact me. Maybe they'd learned. Maybe they'd given up. Either way, it was fine. I was fine. Better than fine. 2 years in, Marcus visited for a weekend. We went hiking, ate too much barbecue, and stayed up late talking about life. You ever regret it? He asked. Going scorched earth on them? Sometimes I regret how it happened, but not that it happened. Fair. What about you? You talk to them? Occasionally. Christmas cards. That's about it. He paused. Derek's doing better, apparently. Still working 2 jobs. They finally moved out of your parents' place for good this time. Good for them. Think you'll ever go back? Visit? I thought about it. Maybe, someday, on my terms. That's all you can ask for. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the Austin skyline light up as the sun set. You know what's funny? I said. They spent years telling me family helps family. And they were right. Family should help. But help doesn't mean sacrifice. It doesn't mean setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. It means boundaries, and respect, and reciprocity. Marcus raised his beer. To boundaries. I clinked my bottle against his. To choosing yourself. And somewhere, hundreds of miles away, my family was living their lives. Without me funding them. Without me fixing them. Without me. And for the first time in my life, that felt exactly right.